Welcome back to the pod. We have Drue Grit here again with me. We're switching gears and we're talking about relationships. We didn't want to do it with the first pod that we did previously, talking about his book, because we don't want to take away from the book, but we wanted a separate one for relationships. And Drue, you brought something up that was really, what was the question what was the statement that you said about relationships?
Basically, how we are with our relationships, particularly our romantic relationship, our partner or prospective partner, how we are in our relationships reflects how we are with all of our other relationships.
Okay. How are you in your relationships?
Mm-hmm. So for me, is that a question?
Yeah, that's a question.
Well, there's different types of relationships. There is a business relationship. There is a professional relationship. There is a mentor relationship, mother, father, someone above you. Then there's romantic relationships. And maybe there's more. But the reason why I say that about romantic relationships is because a romantic relationship reflects more leaning into love. So how you are lovingly in your romantic relationships will reflect how you are in all your other relationships. If you're secure in a romantic relationship, if you're proud of your partner and your partner's proud of you and they're your rock, you're like, I need to call my woman, I need to call my man. I want their advice, I want their opinion. They're my back. They're my, they have me. If you feel that way about your partner, you're pretty much good with everything else in your life in terms of helping or dealing with other people, because you're confident. Now, do we have that? Does anyone say like, my partner has my back so well that I feel confident? Look, I was with someone for a long time who really was so supportive that I was reminded daily about all the best things about me. That person deserves a lot of credit. That person was also just like my mom. My mom would never let me forget how special I was in the most creative ways. She never spoiled me with flattery. She was just so smart with identifying when I was good at something or how I did something that other people don't do or how I was emotionally intelligent. So when you have that support from your partner or from a relationship, business relationship, professional, mentor, you can tackle the world. Because just like how a negative relationship can tell you, man, you are just so bad at this, or bro, you are way off, or you're just not good at your job. You can have one person break you completely down. You could have a stranger off the street say one word that triggers you and it crumbles you. Mm-hmm. So how you are in your most loving relationship reflects how you are with your most positive and negative relationships. That person that builds you up, who's your rock, if you're super strong, that person supports you every day. When you have that offbeat person that brings you down by something negative, that may not hit you as hard because you have someone who's constantly supporting you and backing you up.
Your book, it talks about like second chances, but let's talk about how many chances are we giving to people in relationships, in like romantic relationships? How many chances is too many chances?
It depends on where you're at. It depends on where you're at and what you believe, because it's part of it's maturity, but part of it's just what you believe. Love is forgiving. Beyonce says that love is an endless act of forgiving. And many celebrities, many of our heroes have cheated on their partners. There's a lot of material about one of the most loving human beings of all time, Martin Luther King, being unfaithful. JFK, many leaders, many people in society, and they're all human beings. So you have to ask, why do our partners cheat? And then you have to ask, do I understand that? Do I agree with it? Do I disagree with it? And how do I feel about it? I was once a person that said, I will never cheat on someone, and anyone that cheats on me, they're done. But what did we do when we have a kid? And, what do we do when we really love someone and we do want to give a second chance? It's not in this sense, it is a matter of quantity, but it's really about knowing yourself and loving yourself to know when is enough. Because anyone who does that repeatedly to another human being is letting a person walk over them, and they're therefore not loving themselves. So the person that actually is really doing the wrongdoing is the person that doesn't say goodbye because they're not loving themselves.
Yeah,
And,
everyone has a different threshold.
yeah.
What's
And I
enough?
have many of friends and family that have definitely gone through that.
Mm-hmm.
And you just, old school, you don't put up with it because
Yeah.
the person that really loves you, even, and men make mistakes, when all human beings make mistakes, but I do believe in second chances. However, if it's repeated, um, anyone who truly loves you would not actually put at risk.
Exactly.
Now, do men make mistakes? Women make mistakes? Yeah, I have too. Um, I've never cheated on any of my partners, but I've certainly been in situations that wouldn't be morally fair, and that's because we are sexual human beings, and we catch vibes, we catch feelings, and so things happen. But it's about being truthful, it's about being honest, and it's about talking about it. If if I actually have a conversation with a partner and they can articulate what they did and why, that's all I need to know to have an actual conversation to decide. And then it's about behavior afterwards. I don't believe in this, and this is also ties a little bit to cancel culture. I don't believe in just, you're an evil human being, now I write you off for the rest of my life. There are evil things that people do or bad things, but if we write everyone off for something wrong they do, the entire world will be blind.
Then what do you think about people when they say like, "Oh, you're liking this person on Instagram and blah blah blah," and
Like in their photos and all that.
yeah, and social media, obviously, we know it's nothing, but it is something
Mm-hmm.
to people. So, what would you
So,
say
so
if,
being in a relationship and like my woman and my partner
yeah,
is liking a bunch of guys' photos,
yeah, or she's getting mad at you because you're liking everybody?
I would say, can we let's have a conversation about it. What are your thoughts with me liking another girl's photos? And she would say, what would she
It's
say?
disrespectful.
And I would say it's disrespectful because it feels like I'm flirting with her, or that I'm like lusting after another woman. And you would say,
Am I a am I a nice girlfriend or a mean girlfriend? Or
well,
like
I
a
mean,
really,
put yourself in the
oh,
shoes. Role play.
okay. Because I think that what was your two options? If you're being
Like,
flirty?
like, what does it make you think and feel with me liking other girls' photos? Or
It makes
if I just liked one really really sexy one, just one.
it makes me feel what you said, like the option of it makes me feel like you are lusting after them, or it makes me feel insecure.
Hmm. Now, me as Drue, I would say I completely understand that, and I would say, well, it's not a big deal for me to not like a person's photos. And then I would say, do you want me to not like the person's photos? And you would probably say, yeah, don't. Well, then the question is like, why I like the photos. Well, I saw something I thought was beautiful or sexy, and so I liked it. And you or whoever might say, well, I'm not comfortable with that. That makes me uncomfortable. That makes me feel disrespected, or et cetera, et cetera, which is the truth. And if I were to be truthful, I would say, well, I was attracted to that, but I would never do anything. I would never, ever cross the boundary besides liking a photo. But if you, to my partner, or to you, Jan, if you were uncomfortable with that and didn't want me to do it, no problem. You know what I mean? That's just the type of dialogue you have to have. You have to have a real dialogue,
I
you
think
know?
so. I think what happens is probably like a lot of the times is people wouldn't respond the way you would respond to them because you're very the questions that you would ask, like that
Mhm.
you're role playing, you're asking, it's very, I think it's like it's very inquisitive, it's like very caring. Well, I
Yeah.
think a lot of people don't know how to react to that, and the first thing that they respond to with like a, if someone comes at them, their partner comes at them with those things is um it's just social media, you're overreacting, and then it becomes an issue where,
Yeah.
yeah, I think if people reacted the way,
Well, that response is shutting someone down. That's not a dialogue. Because here's the reality: like I'm an artist, and all my friends are artists. So I have friends that are men and women that are beautiful people, and men and women that show off their vessel, their bodies, and all the people that are following me that I follow are all friends or colleagues or collaborators. So I could totally understand if my partner said, Drue, you follow a lot of women and a lot of women follow you, and it makes me uncomfortable. I would completely understand that. I think that's a challenge for anyone, but I'm also a director, so I work with many different people as well. But that's where you got to know, that's where your partner, your man or your woman says, babe, boo, let me tell you, boo,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do nothing dirty to you.
Yeah.
You're my man or my woman, and I give you my word, looking you in the eye. Even if I turn my head at a person, I'm with you because I want you. The reality is, and what's really the truth, is men and women are sexual human beings. If you see someone super hot, Jan, if you see Brad Pitt and he says, Jan, I'd like to interrupt your podcast, you're gonna be like, you can interrupt it, Brad, you know, because that's just the reality of it. It's when we act upon those emotional chemical reactions with a man seeing another woman that they like, or a woman seeing another woman that they like. It's when we react where we risk being inappropriate. That's where the issue lies. And then the second issue is not having a clear communication line with our partners. I have friends that say, their partners say straight up, I do not want you following his Instagram, period. I don't want you following this person. I know they like you and I know that they're attractive, and I don't want you following this guy. And I'm like, I would say, okay, but I would have like, what's the real root of the issue? What's the real root of the issue? Is it that person, or is it any guy? You know? So boundaries and communications is everything, because what's comfortable for me, Jan, may not be comfortable for you. What's comfortable for your partner may not be comfortable. And this is where it's all about communication. It's all about communication. You know, I've dated actors and models where I know that dudes be lining up all day, chasing them down, messaging them all day. I know this happens to all women, that dudes be hitting you up all day, getting in the DMs, trying to make a pass. Believe me, I get it, you know, and women do that to men too. It's all in the treatment of things. It's all in the treatment of things. If you see in my DMs, if I'm super flirty and my woman checks that, yeah, that's not right. So you know when you're doing dirty or not. You know when we're crossing the boundaries. But it goes back to that being checked. If I had a conversation in real life with a human being and my partner said, Drue, I thought you were a little flirty with them, and they were flirty with you, and it was clear that there was a level of attraction, I would listen to my partner. I would listen and talk it out with them. I would hope that they wouldn't come guns blazing, because we can't get anything done that way, but I would listen and try to be a good listener first, and then I would respond and take ownership and try to talk it out.
Yeah, I think the way that you handle it, like even like us like pretending, yeah, you extinguish the fire rather than adding fuel to the fire. And I think a lot of the times, especially now, with like online dating, there's so many options out there, and social media is a thing, and it does impact relationships. I think a lot of times when people do bring it up, the response is always like defensive, or
we go on the off defense, as opposed to trying to be a true listener and listen to our partners and our persons. And it's because we don't want to be wrong, but we want to be true. We should be leaning into being truthful and vulnerable. I always tell the truth with everyone I'm with, because they're either going to accept me for the truth or they're not. And that's just, you can't beat the truth. But you also, the other factor besides the truth is maturity. If they know my heart and they know me, Jan, and if I say what I actually feel, it's up to them to accept it or not. But you can't get better than a person being vulnerable or truthful. And that's just what all human beings have to do in any relationship. It's just hard for men and women because, again, we're sexual human beings. We catch vibes, we catch feelings. You know what I mean? Like Scarlett Johansson walks through the door right now, Jan, and I'm gonna be a little distracted. I'm like, hi, ScarJo. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm talking to Jan right now, but what are you doing here?
Yeah.
That's the truth, though. That's the truth. Like, or if an ex-lover had called me up or hit me up right now on the FaceTime, I'd be like, wow, what is going on here? Because that's being truthful. That would put me off. It would trigger me. And again, like communication, being vulnerable, that's where love lies. Communication, being vulnerable.
I will say though that I saw something on Instagram saying something like, Oh, if so, along the, I don't know, in a summary of it was basically something like, if I came at you and it was like basically if a a partner came to their partner and said something, it's their job to make me feel better. Just like kind of like the way your response, Drew, of what you just gave an example of is the ideal response that your partner wants. You know, you're very loving, compassionate, understanding, and you wanted to get to the root of why they were feeling insecure or angry, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I agree with that post, but in the same sense, and I think in a relationship, yes, those conversations needs to be had, or it's important to be had, just because we're two different individuals, like you said, everybody, whatever you're sensitive to, I may not, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So we have to learn about how we gel together. But I also think in the same sense that it's not my partner's job to always, yes, it's helpful that I would love that he always makes me feel, extinguishes my insecurities,
Yeah.
but it's also my responsibility to work on that on my own and not have it be my partner's responsibility to make me feel whole, is what
100%.
I'm saying. So I feel like it's our responsibility as an individual to work through whatever baggage we had and then show up for our relationship as well, so that our partner is not the one putting out the fires that we're just bringing to the table and saying like, well, this is how I feel, so it's your job to put it out. Like, you need to make me feel secure, you need to make me feel this. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's important, but we have to do it ourselves too and work on ourselves.
Yeah, 100%. And that defense comes in from the realm of good and evil. It's like, you did something wrong, and therefore you need to really take ownership and make me feel better. We're not good and evil. We're we're shades of gray. We do good, we do bad, we make mistakes. In fact, the only responsibility, that it's not a one-way street. That's why it's a relationship. The best thing we could do, that thing that both partners are responsible for, is having a truthful and honest conversation
Mhm.
where they both listen and they both speak. you know I understand the spirit of that person saying, it's my partner's job to make me feel less insecure, and to come correct, and to make me feel like they don't have anything to worry, et cetera, et cetera. The spirit is that your partner should make you feel secure, that you don't have to worry. But that is also a two-way street. You know what I mean? For example, I've dated women where I'm like, oh my God, every guy's lining up for this chick. I'm gonna have to fight them off. But choosing love is that faith, choosing faith, where I'm like, no, I'm gonna respect her space. I'm gonna create space where I respect her, to know that she knows what's right and wrong. I don't need to say a single thing. Anyone that's ever with me, no one ever hears me saying, uh, you made me a little insecure with all them guys coming up to you. I don't even say that. It's usually the other way around. And because I have no reason to, I
You
have no
got to beat
reason.
him off with a stick.
They get it. They get the right hook treatment. No, because I don't have to. I don't have to do that. I wouldn't even. Yeah, you respect your partner enough that you don't have to even say that. You don't have to say like, um, I'm worried that you're being inappropriate. But then again, it's all maturity level. Like, if you don't feel confident that your partner is super loyal, you have to ask yourself why you think that deep down, and you have to ask yourself, is that the truth about my partner or myself? Because a lot of commitment issues and faith issues go back to the harm that's been done to us. And with all respect to all men and women do make a lot of mistakes in relationships, where it makes us all feel like we do each other dirty. Women particularly are the majority of negative feelings come from women getting done dirty by men. And that's men may say like, no, women do it too. Yeah, both do it, but there's a culture of men getting what they want out of a relationship and bouncing, you know? So but again, it's a relationship, masculinity and femininity. It's a polarity. We all got to work on it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, Jan.
No, that was
People,
a good answer. I think, again, I think your ideal response would be what people want, like just conversation about it, but it's not really met with that often.
it's the hardest thing to do. It's the hardest thing to say, like, I feel vulnerable and scared, or insecure by all these guys that like your photos. And I know all these guys make passes at you. And it's hard for me to look at that. That's not how I feel as Drue. But I've been with women, actors or models or just beautiful women that I know that's been the case, especially on Instagram. Everyone's been does that. And I know, and I'm sure that's probably how some women feel that have dated me, probably like, damn, people be knocking on Drue's door all the time. But anyone who's ever with me or would know that I would be like, I'm a consummate professional and the best I can be. So I have a lot of different friends from all over the world. I have a lot of people that I work with and collaborate with. And I like to be friends with everyone I meet, as many people as I can. I love people. So, but anyone who knows me knows that I wouldn't cross the line. And if I did, I would be able to talk about it with my partner. And that's just the level we need to be at. You know, what's comfortable for me is not the same for you, Jan. Or like what's comfortable for one actor I did it once. I like men flirting with her was normal. That's part of the business. That's all men chasing her down because she's an actor and she's successful, you know, so that's normal. And that's hard for a softer man. A softer man wouldn't be able to handle that, you know, or even a very strong, mature man, that'd be hard to handle. But that has to have a dialogue, you know. If she comes to you and just like, oh, Drue, they'd be lining up at my door and I'm just waving at them from the window. They're trying. You don't have to worry. They all try, but I want you, babe. I want you. You know, that's all you need to hear and feel like you're confident, you know?
Yeah.
So
What do you think is like the hardest thing about dating now
a
in
lot of things.
today's time?
A lot of things. People not saying what they actually feel and what they actually mean. If you're a guy and you just want to be intimate with a girl or just want to have sex, you should think of a very classy way and respectful way to say that. If you're a guy or a woman that just wants to have a relationship you want to build with with a person, you should find a classy and respectful way to say that. It's probably hard for a lot of people to say that up front because realistically, if you start knocking on doors saying, I'm looking to build right now and I want to see if you're a candidate, or I want to just get down and dirty right now and I want to see if you're a candidate.
You think people should say it like that or no? Did you say yes or no?
What's that?
You said that's how you think people should communicate.
No, I know that's not how it could, that's not how it would work, right? That's not how it would get down, right? But you could realistically, like when you start courting someone, whether you're over the internet or you meet someone, a man or a woman has an initial reaction of what they think about that person. Is this someone that I could build with and have a relationship with, or is it someone I'm just attracted to? You know, there is a truth. Men very quickly know if they feel that way.
Yeah.
Would you say as a woman, you think you know as well if that's something you want to pursue romantically or just have fun with?
I think yes. But I also think sometimes like things change, you know, like you meet someone, you're like, ugh,
Yeah.
never. And then you get to know them, you're like, oh my gosh.
That's what love does. That's what
But
love
I
does.
do say, oh, don't forget, I want to ask you, like, do you think there's like love at first sight and falling in love fast is a thing? But before we go to that, I was gonna say, I think that one of the I think that's hard with dating is now is as a woman, I think, I don't know, I can't speak for everyone, but the people that I've spoken to, I think we all have a common feeling is that we don't want, we're afraid to ask certain questions
Hmm.
because we don't want to come off as I want to have your babies. You know, like some women, they're so afraid to ask, like, oh, well, do you want to have kids? Because, or do you want to get married? You know, as they're getting to know them, because they're thinking, oh my God, he's gonna think I want to have babies with him and marry him. But it's just like we just want people just, you know, the woman just wants to know, like, is that something on your radar in the future? But people don't ask those things because they don't want to come off as too much.
Yeah.
And we're afraid that the guy's gonna think, oh, she's trying to marry me. It's like, no,
You know what
we just
sucks
want
is
to
that,
know.
you know, it sucks is like that's everyone's big fear. They don't want to come off as too much, too soon, too fast.
Yeah.
Let me tell
Or
you,
be
Jan.
misunderstood, you know?
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah, absolutely. They want to be they want to be known for who they are before someone says yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wants to feel that way. I'm Mr. Too Much. I go right to the real talk,
Okay.
straight up. Come up to you in the bar, we're going right to the real talk.
Okay.
And with anyone, with a professional, with a child, with you, with anyone, 100% the real talk. If someone tells you that you're too much for them, they're
They're not for
absolutely
you.
they're absolutely right. They're not for you. Because your person, whether they're a friend, professional, a dog, or your lover, you're going to jam with them by being exactly who you are. So why even worry about being too much too soon when it's the truth, if that's the truth of that person? You know what I'm saying? Like, now the realisticness is in the courting between a male and female. There is a courting process. Peacocks do what they do, lions do what they do, and wolves do what they do to attract a partner. So there is a level of tactfulness to attract someone, right? Because you don't know who a person is from the first moment you meet them. You don't. You have to spend time with them to really know who a human being is. But I think if you're respectful, kind, and truly you, that should be who you be. And I think that, like, those conversations, do you want to build, do you want to have kids, what are you looking for? Again, I don't think, if that's what you want to ask, I think you should ask, because you're just getting to the truth right away. And if the truth is not good for that person, they're not for you. If that's too much for them, then that's right, it is too much for them. You got to meet your person to where they're at. But I think what people should do is just chill out and slow down. Just spend time with someone. That's how you find out who a person is. If you get to the heavy stuff up front in this day and age with modern dating, with modern human beings, it is too much, because people don't have those conversations with themselves, nonetheless a new person.
Yeah.
So I think that actually the best thing to do on, like, first dates, couple dates, is just spend time with a human being. No making out, no hooking up, just spending time with them. If you really want to do all those things, it'll be worth the wait. But the benefit of just spending time with someone is you get to find out who they really are by spending time with them, hopefully. you
Mm-hmm.
know um but one of my favorite things that I wrote is you know people talk about being basic. You're like, don't be so basic. And I think I wrote, I want to, I goof around on Instagram, I like to write what I write. I wrote, I'm not basic, I'm extra, like guac. I'm extra, like guac,
Okay.
baby girl, like
Well,
guac.
that's good that you're extra.
Like guac, baby girl. But that's the truth. If you feel like you're too big, too much for a human being, then, and they say that, then they're right. You are. You can only meet your person as much as they meet themselves. But, like, rule one, be who you really are. Rule two, in my opinion, just relax, take your time. There's no rush. There's honestly no rush. And the realisticness in this day and age, that people are so freaking scared of relationships and being vulnerable and saying the truth, that most people actually need time with the person. When you spend time with a human being, you start to slowly let down your guard and slowly actually start to say what you actually feel and think. So I think human beings should take their time. If you're going to spend the rest of your life with a human being, you might as well just take time on a first date, right?
Yeah. Do you think that, or do you believe that you could fall in love with someone in like a month?
Heck yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
How about a week?
Oh, I fall in love with someone in an hour easily.
What?
Yeah, of course. Of course. If someone shows me some amazing qualities, easy. But I look for the best in human beings, and that's different. Most people look,
Like fall in love with them? Like I could easily meet someone and be like, oh my gosh, I love this person. But you're talking about really love them?
falling in love with a person implies the puppy love, where you're like, damn, I'm smitten. And that's a color of love. That's a color of love, when you're smitten by a person and you're just like Romeo and Juliet, puppy love, super excited. That's new love, right? That's immature love, not with negative connotation, but that's one flavor, one color of love, is that you get really excited and pumped. um being truly love is truly knowing a human being, and them truly knowing you, and being vulnerable with them, and them being vulnerable with you.
Mm-hmm.
But Me personally, because I've studied love and I know myself, I fall in love with strangers all the time. And I'm not saying romantic, I'm saying that person is so awesome.
Well,
You know?
yeah, that's what I was talking about. Like, there's a difference between like saying like, oh my gosh, I love that person. She or she is so awesome. Whereas
Yeah.
like I'm talking about romantic love.
Yeah. For
You
me,
think,
all the time. Sure. All the time.
what?
Yeah.
This is what.
Now head over heels, like, oh my God, I can't see anyone else but this person. I'm so crazy about this person. I can't see anyone else. That type of intense fall in love, not as much. But to me personally, when I really like someone, I don't actually look at anyone else. I just want that one person. It's like it's a choice. I choose that person. That's me. We cloud the emotions of love and also our sexual attraction. We cloud that, you know, because sometimes they come together. Sometimes it's like I'm deeply attracted to this person and I just love who they are. Like that's intense. That's the whole gamut of falling in love with someone, right? Um, but I think that like most men and women, they get deeply excited and they try to hold back. You
Yes,
know?
true. I think that's true. I think I do that.
Yeah.
Well, I do that because it comes back to me being like a cautious person.
Yeah.
So I asked that question because um some people say like yes, or some people there's that's just their MO. They fall fast. Like that's what they do.
Yeah.
I'm opposite where, well, maybe because I haven't met anyone that I like fell in love with in such a short time. But for me, my thinking is if someone met me and they said they fell in love with me, great. But I always
You're like, great. Thanks.
great.
Proud of you.
No, that wasn't my accurate response. I'd been like, oh,
Great.
that's so awesome. No, obviously I would be thrilled if they fell in love with me. But me thinking of, okay, so my answer to that is I think that is falling in love with someone fast, like realistic, probably.
Mm-hmm.
But my only thought to that would be let's see if what they say and what is that saying? They say what they mean and do what they
Do what
say
they
kind
say.
of thing. If it's
Yeah.
consistent, right? Because
Yeah.
anyone could do it for a short amount of time, but are you consistent?
Yeah.
And then if someone is falling in love with me and they're like, Jan, I love you in like a week, that I would be so flattered. But I would also be like, well, you don't know how I am like with my family, with my best friend in a crisis, you know, when I'm like super stressed. Like you don't know who I am in these different situations until we get there. And we could have never have experienced all that in a week. You know, those things take time. So
Yeah.
you'll see different sides of me to learn if you really love me.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. But
I can
maybe
understand
I'm
that.
a slow po. I don't know.
I can understand that. If someone said all this to you, you know, Janet, I'm just crazy about you, and you're like, oh, you haven't seen my
Of
family.
course, I wouldn't say that.
Well, so I guess what I was trying to get to is like, it's a choice. It's a choice. If they say all that about you, and you haven't shown them your family, how you are with your friends, but then let's say you lose your arm, and they go, I don't care. I'm still crazy about you. Would you believe that?
Mm,
So what I'm saying is that it's a choice. It's a choice because this is why women forgive men when they do wrong, and this is why men do the same thing. It's a choice to love someone. They don't fully know you. That's the key, but they can love you without fully knowing you. That's for sure the case because love is a choice. You could do me wrong, I can still love you, you know? But that's why I think you're right in the sense that what men and women should seek to do is this: seek to find out who they really are and seek to show them who you really are. Because down the middle, that's the truth.
say that again.
And when we date people, well, first date or date number 10, you should seek to find out who they really are.
Oh, yes.
And you should seek to show them who you really are. Do you have to do anything really fancy? Honestly, no. It's just you spend time with them. When you go walk down the street after parking at the meter and the meter has a ticket, you see the person freak out. And are they cool about it? I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it. Or they freak out like, I can't do another damn LA ticket. Bullshit. Los Angeles. To hell with you, to hell with you. You're cool. You're dead to me. You know what I mean? Like, seek to find out who they really are. That was my little show for you guys. It probably just blew the microphones. But when you spend time with someone, you find out who they really are.
Yeah.
Just like, you know what I always said? That, okay, I was in love with someone who was not from this country, and I was with for 6 months, crazy about her. And I said to myself, to my best friend, like, man, we've been together 6 months. I'm crazy about her. I can't wait for our first big conflict, our first big fight. And he said, why? And I said, because I'm going to see how we really are together. Because a conflict, a fight will really show you if that relationship is going to last. And guess what? Our first fight ended everything.
Oh, no.
And fast forward of a year and 8 months of pain, because it's not about quantity, it's about quality. That one person had that deep effect on me for 6 months of time with her, a year and a half, a year and 8 months of pain. That conflict showed me how that person would be with me. And they were definitely not right for me, and I was not right for them. Two-way street, you know? So, you know, we're all scared. We all want to find our person. We all want to find our lovers. I don't date often. And when I date, I'm committed. I'm in, you know? And but it takes effort, both seeking to see a person for who they are and seeking to show them who we really are. Because when you do that, you get to the truth. And the truth says this person is compatible with me or they're not. I'm compatible with them or I'm not. Mm-hmm. Based off of where I'm at, based off of where they're at, and based off of what we have in common, which is both what my mother and father said. It's like, you got to find someone that you have stuff in common with. And they both said it in their own way. And it's true, you know?
Yeah.
So how about that?
I like it.
Dating's really hard.
It's so hard.
It's harder in Los Angeles. It's hard in many big cities, but Los Angeles particularly because it's the city of dreams. And so there's a lot of complications with people that come here with their dreams. It's like they think that, and I was like this too. I used to say I'm married to my career. Younger Drue would be like, I'm married to my career. Ladies, don't be getting in the way of my career, my dreams. But your person will be a part of your career and your dreams. Your person will help you elevate you to be getting closer to your career and your dreams. Your person will be your rock. Even if they're not in your business, they're going to be like your biggest fan. They're going to be the person that just like, man, you are so good at that. And like, no one does what you do. And what can I do to help you? What can I do? They're your biggest fan. They're your biggest supporter. And I just don't think people should be in relationships where that person is not their person. You know what I mean? Like, they got to be your biggest fan, biggest supporter, and someone that you can be the same for. Yeah. Otherwise, it's, what type of relationship is it? It's not as balanced. So, yeah. But it's complicated these days. It's complicated finding a person. It's complicated dating a person. You know, it's more complicated than ever. Post-pandemic, Tinder, Bumble, all the things, right? How do you meet people? It's so much more difficult for everyone nowadays.
Now because of the panini?
The panini. All of that's complicated too. Because we weren't going out, we weren't meeting people, and people, supposedly online dating or stuff like that, talking online skyrocketed. But the reality is that people are still not doing the work they need to be doing for themselves, the spiritual work and the personal development work, you know? Yeah, relationships are hard. I feel for people really, really badly. It's hard.
Yeah. It's, I think, I don't know. Maybe you disagree with me, but I do think it takes so much effort and courage to come across the room or just make the effort to say hi. I feel like people put a lot on the guys to initiate those things.
Yeah.
Or do you think it's like your responsibility? Some people are like, well, no, that's my responsibility.
In the old days, in every culture, it's about the man approaching the woman. I really believe it should be whoever wants what. I think both should. I think women would actually be more confident and feel more powerful and feel more clear about what they want and don't want if they approach men too. Because they're in the position of power when you initiate. And it's up to the men to respond. Oh, this person likes me. Oh my gosh, they flirt with me. And men and women do initiate in ways. They do. but not like the same traditional way. If we're talking, a man comes up to a girl in a bar or somewhere and says, "Hi, how are you?" You know, both should do it. Both should do it. Again, we're just getting to the truth. If a girl is attracted to another person and that person leaves, that's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe in the 5 second rule. If in 5 seconds you're drawn to someone, just go up and crack a joke will be you. You know, say something. And if you don't, Bob Marley says if he's a wonderful quote. Let me just pull it up. And this is because all people have their guards up to block the bad people out, right? And even good people are short and curt with other people. Men and women are short and curt with other people that they know are flirting with them. And it kind of sucks because we all lose opportunities because we're being so defensive, and it comes off of from our experiences negative, right? As opposed to just seeing like, okay, this person's flirting with me. I don't have to be curt or harsh. I just don't have to respond with flirting. That's all it needs to be. Um, okay, so Bob Marley says, if she's amazing, she won't be easy. If she's easy, she won't be amazing. If she's worth it, you won't give up. If you give up, you're not worthy. Truth is, everybody is going to hurt you. You just got to find the ones worth suffering for. I'm all about it, but I think I can say that it's not about suffering with a person, it's about working with a person, right? It all comes about back to choosing love, choosing to work with a person, choosing to make it work, choosing to say, I forgive you, choosing to say, I want to be with you, choosing to say, I'm going to make it work. The people that I've dated in my life that I've left or that have left me, it only is because I didn't want that anymore or they didn't want me anymore. It's as simple as that. Because if you want something, you choose to make it work. It's
Yep.
as simple as that. So, one thing that any man or woman should know, sorry, is you should not waste your time with someone who doesn't choose to want to be with you, to choose to love you. You don't have to waste your time. It's not because they're evil, it's just because you are not what they want. And that's hard for people to stomach all the time. I've gone through it. You've gone through it. We've done it to other people. It's all in the treatment of things, you know? So, ghosting, no. Being honest and open and vulnerable, yes. You know, you can be kind and truthful without being harsh or curt or hurtful. You know, I've done it all the time. People have done it to me all the time. So, and by the way, we treat people by saying no or goodbye, thank you next. By the way we do that, teaches them how they will be. It may influence how they are with other people. Me as a man, as a leader, as a human being, as a director, as a writer, as Drue, I feel strongly about leaving things better than I find them, and people and places included. So for the people that made passes at me that I said no thank you, or the people that I've let go, or the people that I've tried, I always I always make my best effort to be respectful and kind, and try to maybe say something that's like good about the person, because it's only going to help us all grow and be better.
Yes.
Well, I'm always curious about what people vibe with personally. So what's the most important thing you're looking for in your next partner? Or what's something you're excited about to have in your next partner? That they love baking, or that they love Jay-Z and music, like what's something you're excited for to have in your next partner? And what's the most important thing you're looking for? Because what that thing is probably in relation to something positive and negative to you.
Or I don't know. I just appreciate someone who, I don't know, has good family. I always say if I marry someone, I think it would be really hard for me. It might be a deal breaker too if I was in a relationship with someone and his mom or his family did not like me, or his mom didn't, or was like their family was like a toxic negative, like nasty,
Super
ugly
hard.
like
It's so
family
hard.
in the worst place, because I do feel like when you marry someone, and please, like my family is not perfect, at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could marry someone where, because I hear so many times people like they're fighting tooth and nail for their relationship because mom or dad or their family hates the spouse. I could not be in a relationship where I knew your parents hated me. Even though I loved you,
Yeah.
I cannot marry you, because then I'm marrying your family and I cannot handle your mom hating me. I
Yeah.
cannot handle that.
I look, that's a really good thing to dive into. A lot of people have to deal with that where they
Or
have their
like you
person.
hear like parents like trying to like, moms, or I don't know, they're trying to like doing everything to break them apart.
This is where men and women have to come correct with whoever it is. If it's mom, dad, sister, brother, cousin, best friend, you got to come correct. If I choose this person, this is my person, and you love me, you need to love this person or learn to love this person. And if you
Mm-hmm.
can't do either, you got to learn to respect them that in a way that respects me and the person. You got to come correct. Any culture in this day and age, we don't got time for any of that. People choose, they choose. If as your family member or mom or dad or brother or sister, I see that your person is no good for you, you also got to come correct and say that person is not good for you.
Right.
You deserve better. I've done that. A lot of people in my life. I always come correct on it. But I've also been in situations where people that I love didn't like my partner. And the reality is that, and this is a theme in, oh, is it in the second book? Well, it is something that's important to me. It's love is thicker than blood. That's hard for people to understand. My father was emotionally, verbally abusive to me, but he loved me. And he was my blood. But my partner, the people that loved me, that weren't my blood, that really loved me, didn't do any of that stuff to me. They didn't emotionally abuse me or verbally abuse me. My dad, we're cool. He's rest in peace. He's all good. But I bring this up because the people that love you, that really love you, that don't do any of that type of stuff, that's blood. That's love. You don't need to have anyone in your life that doesn't treat you well, regardless of their mom, dad, cousin, brother, sister. It doesn't matter. If they don't treat you well with respect at the very basic, but treat you with love, kick them to the curb. And that's hard in a lot of cultures. It's hard in a lot of human beings. If my mom hated my next person, that would be a challenge. But if I chose this person to make my life with, and my mom can't accept that, that's my person. I chose them.
Mm-hmm.
You're choosing not to love me and that person.
Yeah.
And it's the maturity level. As a man or woman, you have to do that. What if my mom hated my kid? That happens too, right? So you have to be really brave. But you should also listen. If your parent or loved one doesn't like your partner for a reason, you should hear them out. It happens
Yes.
all the time.
No, definitely. I'm talking about like situations where like there was no reason for the person, your family member, to not like your spouse. I'm talking about like, like Crazy Rich Asians, where the
Oh yeah.
girlfriend was a lovely lady, but the
Yeah.
mom just had her own ideas.
Yeah.
That situation. Obviously, if the tables were flipped and my sister was dating someone, she's married, but if she was dating someone that I hated and treated her like shit,
Come correct.
yeah, you're not welcome. I'm not going to kiki with you. You
Yeah.
do not get a plate at the barbecue.
Yeah. 100%.
But I'm talking about like those situations where you have no reason to dislike this person.
It's just personality. Sometimes you just have people that, like, for example, let's take another example where they're not really mean, but they're definitely not nice. And it's cold. I still come correct with them. I go to anyone in my family, anyone, everyone knows this about me. If that's my person, I expect you to respect them at the very least, but I expect you to love them because I love them. And if they can tell me why they're not a good person, they can come try. They can tell me why they don't like them. That's something else. But if it's like a person that just doesn't like, your partner who is so annoying, I don't like them. I'll hear that. People are human beings. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. You know what I mean? I'm a big presence. I've got big energy. You know what I mean? So I get it. But at the very basis, respect. But then you start to choose, okay, well, we won't spend that time together. But here's the thing: if you really love someone, if they really love me, they will make every effort to love that person, every effort, and I'll make every effort to help them love them because I love them and I love them. So it is again a relationship, you know. But the reality is, in a lot of people's marriages and relationships, that there's someone in the family who's really important who just doesn't vibe, and I think you have to make every effort to come correct on them. And I think you have to make every effort to just be open and vulnerable and honest. But the future lies in who you choose to be with. That's just the fact. If you choose to reproduce with a human being, that's the future. No one else has that power or responsibility but you. You know. So, and like I'm the person who I come correct on everyone in my life about their partner, because people come to me all the time to want to share what they're going through, and I want to be the best support I can. But I come correct on positive and negative. And I also have told people this person's not right for you. They don't help you be the best version of you. But I love you and I'll help you with your partner because I want you to be the best version of you. And I can't tell you that this person is not right for you, but I'll make every effort. But if that person then find out they're abusive, I'm like, nah,
Yeah.
done. They're not right for you,
It's a
and
wrap.
it's a wrap, and you're messing up.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to turn my back on you. That's the other thing, because if you come really harsh with someone, then they turn their backs on you, and they won't come to you anymore. So that's why people have to be more kind. People have to be more kind about it. You know, it's it's a tough one. That's a tough one. If you don't like a person's family, that's really tough, and that's so normal. You know.
But my answer to like what I'm looking for is like my hope is like my person is like at least I want to love their family and I want them
Hell
to love
yeah.
mine. And my family's
Oh,
kooky, you know. Everyone's family is weird.
hell
I mean,
yeah.
we're a good time, but we're they're not perfect, you know,
Yeah.
but I just want people to not hate each other.
If your partner loves you, they'll care about that and they'll make every effort. Me, I love it. I've dated people from everywhere, every corner of the earth. So I'm like, let's go. I'm gonna win over the dog, the cat, grandma, and dad. I'm all about it because if
Yeah.
I love someone, I want to show them that I can man up and show them that I can love everyone in the room and be my best version of me so they'll love me. And if they don't love the best version of me, then something's wrong with them. You know? So
Anything
yeah.
else before we close this relationship episode?
Yeah, we literally went for it. We just went
We
on
went for it.
for a full hour, didn't we? Huh?
If you guys are listening and you love what Drue has to say, I loved what Drue had to say. Let slide into my DMs and send me relationship question advice, and then we'll have Drue answer them again.
I would love that. I would love that. I would love that.
Ladies, fellas, anybody listening who loved what Drue had to say and you want more of his feedback, slide into my DMs at JanTackles.
Maybe I know people want to quantify and qualify. Maybe I can come from where I'm coming from. So I've been, and this is why I care about this, because everything's a relationship. Me professionally, me with my work, me with you, Jan, me with my dog, me with my sister, me with my lover. Everything's a relationship in life, right? So where I come from talking about this talk in a relationship level, emotional relationships, romantic relationships, is I've been in 5.5 year relationships, year and a half, 2 years, 6 months, 4 months, dated. And I don't date a lot. I don't date a lot. So I've had a lot of different relationships with a lot of different people. And I've only been in relationships with people I really was crazy about or in love with. So, and they've all been different people. I've never dated the same person twice, the same type of person, right? And also my experience comes from helping friends and family with their relationships. And why have I been like that? Because I just love people and I love helping people be the best versions of them. And that helps me be the best version of me. And everything I write about is about relationships. So, and I'm also particularly sensitive to how we are today, because how we are in our own romantic relationship reflects how we are with the world and with each other. We all know that we all get super bitter and bad and angry when we go through a really bad relationship.
Yeah, no one likes breakups or rejection. It's always hard.
And it just sticks with us and hurts us because that's someone saying that they didn't like us or want to be with us or did us dirty. That affects everything else we do in our lives, no matter how well we tuck it down or tuck it away. of course, I'm super sensitive. You know, I'm a wolf. I'm a Cancer, and I get really hurt when someone doesn't want to be with me because I'm like, why? I know I'm a good man. What? Why? It's no different from any man or woman when someone rejects us. It's really hard to stomach that if you know that you are a good person and I mean, even if you don't, it's hard for anyone to accept being told that they're not wanted. But that's where self-love, that's where real love has to kick in, where you have to realize, okay, that person doesn't want me or love me the way I deserve. And it's not because they're a bad person, it's just not what they wanted, you know, or we didn't jam the way that they envisioned their partner to be. That's okay too, you know. I've been with people that after a while, like, you know what, Drue, you're a good person, but you're not what I'm looking for. We've all heard that, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe many of us have heard that. Or a person doesn't tell us why, they just dip. So we all have to work on this. We all have to work on how we treat each other, just dating or hooking up or trying to build with someone or trying to be with someone. We all have to work on that because it affects every other relationship, how we love ourselves, how we love other people, you know? So,
That's good.
I don't even remember what the question was, what we were talking about. Just went off.
Well, I think it was just I don't know, we were just about to close it and you were just giving your last 2 sentences.
Oh, yeah. And I was saying, where do I come from with all this? So
Yeah.
I want everyone to find the person of their dreams. Straight up. Everyone should have the person of their dreams. Everyone should have a great person as their man or woman or whatever they want.
Yeah.
Their person. Everyone should have a person. I really believe in that. And I really believe there's more than one out there for us, looking for you, in training for you, because you're in training for them.
Yeah.
And everyone deserves to have someone who's their biggest fan.
Yes.
This is not 1 in a million, but your person is 1 in a million and they're looking for you. You
Yep.
know, that's why we go through all the bullshit, so we can hopefully learn about ourselves and other people, because our partner is one of 70 billion just like us. So if we don't do the work to be the best versions of us, how can we get our 1 in 7 billion who's the best version of them? So that's why I care about this. And I believe that all of this is about relationship to each other and to ourselves. It's all connected.
Yep. Everyone, if you're losing hope, Drew said it. There's someone out there.
They're looking for you.
They're looking for you.
They're like, hurry up with whatever you got to deal with right now, because I'm looking for you.
Don't lose hope. They're looking for you.
100%. Don't shut down, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Don't block yourself. Don't get all angry or jaded because of what Jerry did, or Mikey, or Alejandro, or Priscilla, Bob. Don't get jaded because of what they did. They were all training. They were all your training, and then your person's in training too. All of your persons are in training. You know.
Don't lose hope, guys. They're in training. 100%. I like that. They're just in training.
They are, and they're looking for you. So, yeah, you got to be in your training too.
Yeah.
And also, I'll leave this last one, Jan, because
I like it. Let's talk for 10,000 years. Keep it rolling.
Can you imagine? I think with women too, I think particularly for women, because men are by nature go after what they want. I think a word of advice, as just a man sharing this to any woman or any human being, be open-minded. Be open-minded, because people are going to knock on your door, but some people knock softer than others, you know. And so you should be open-minded. Like, people are like, oh, well, I know he's a good person, but I'm really not attracted to him, or he's not the person I imagined. But if you think about your best friends, you don't think about them necessarily romantically, but your person should be your best friend.
Yeah.
And sometimes love grows just by it always grows actually, just by opening up and being vulnerable. And I particularly think this with women too. I think they should be as open-minded as they can, because if a good man or woman knocks on your door, you should hopefully see that they're knocking and give and be open, because even if you don't pursue, even if you don't, you should see what a good man or woman does when they open that door and spend some time with you. We all know what a bad or negative person does when we get caught up in their vibes, right? Even if they're exciting or fun or sexy or cool, we all know how that goes, you know. But a lot of times I see men and women saying, she's not hot enough, or he's not this enough, or she's not that enough. But a good man or woman doesn't have to knock hard on the door. They don't really have to do anything if they're a good person. And I just wish people would be more open to giving people shots, because even if you don't pursue it, you'll at least spend time with a good person. And that's a good reminder of what a relationship could or should be.
I like that. Just sometimes they don't knock hard. They just give you a little love tap.
Yeah.
Like a, hey, Drew.
Yeah. I lean up against the door and I go, hey, is anyone home?
Hey.
The big bad wolf. And I'm coming for that. Nah. I don't even hit the door. I go knock on the window and say, who's in there?
I'd be like, my friends, my best friend, like, she jokes, she says, I'm the scaredy cat kind, where I'd be like, if I did knock, I'd be like, hey, and they're like, he didn't even hear you knock. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
He didn't answer. He didn't hear me. And my best friend would be like, okay, you didn't even tap the door. I'm like, I did, look. Okay.
It's like holding back or not really, like we all have to be more open-minded. We all have to make a little bit more effort in every department, be more honest, be more upfront, saying what we mean, say what we feel. But I think women would find better men if they were hunting more. A woman goes, I want another woman or another man. I'm going to look for that type of woman or man I want. I'm going to come knocking on some doors.
That's so funny because, Eliza, she's a comedian and she's so funny. Eliza Scherzlinger or something. I always butcher her name. She talks about how women are always hunting and always looking.
That's how men are.
Where they are like on the prowl all the time.
I think the truth is that women are always searching and processing and filtering, not hunting. And I think women should hunt more, because you say when you hunt, you're like, I know what I want and I'm going after it. That's what men do. But the problem is men lead with, they want something intimacy or sexually, and they're not saying, I'm looking for my wife, But that's why you have to be open-minded, right? And I think you can do whatever you want. You just have to be kind and open-minded and truthful with another human being, But women actually would build themselves up more if they went after the women and the men that they want, or made the effort, being the hunter. Because if you're a hunter, you need to have a hunter as well. And so when you come up to a man or woman and you're like, hi, how are you? And you start that, they're gonna either meet you where you're at, or they're gonna crumble, right? Because that's how men have to deal with it. You're either gonna meet me if I come at you, or you're gonna crumble, or you're gonna try to shoo me off,
Yeah.
So it actually goes further, because women are a lot of times just receiving who's attacking them, who's going after the hunter, who's coming at them. But you may not be getting the best version of the person looking for you if you just waiting for them to come to you. Like, it's the relationship takes two.
If we want something done right, we got to do it ourselves.
Yeah, 100%. You got to say, I want a person like this, and I'm gonna just knock on some doors. So it's nothing wrong with that. Then you spend some time with someone. You go, you know what? I knocked on your door, and I was wrong. That's happened to me. That's happened to me, where someone knocked on my door, I let them in. Come on, let's have some tea. And they're like, you know what, Drew? You're cool, but I don't like you. Oh. So, but that hopefully will teach me something, and teach them something. So I say, ladies, men, women, I think seriously, knock on some doors, try it out. It's actually going to build you up and make you more confident, and make you find out what you like and dislike, But the reality is, it's just like women respond in different ways. They, they flirt and make passes in other ways. But it's very powerful when anyone, male or female, of any gender, comes knocking and makes their effort. So
Okay. Well, I think we tried to close out like 3 times, but it's just we had so much to say, and I'm glad we kept it going.
Kept it going, Jan.
We'll close it out here. Thank you guys for tuning in to our relationship talk. If you guys have anything that you want Drue to answer, because he's so good at it,
slide into Jan's DM.
Slide in my DM at JanTackles.
That's so funny.
And follow Drue at Drue Grit and at The Incredible Existence of You to follow all of his love.
Oh, you're the best, Jan. You're the best.
If you guys haven't already, hit the like, subscribe, and share the pod. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.